Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today I give you a story titled, My Girlfriend of 2 Years Cheated on Me with Over 20 Plus Guys. And I shout to Dale for sending in this story. And guys, this story is all about a guy. He's 27, but he shares a story that started 9 years ago, back in 2017, when he met this gal at this religious camp. He and his family are very, very religious, Christian, and he met this gal who comes from a super Christian family, got together with her, thought that God brought them together, all that, and ultimately you're going to see that it wasn't God that brought them together. I think the guy downstairs, down south, was orchestrating all this, and good God Almighty, what this guy goes through. But fortunately, our guy handles it right when he discovers what she's truly like. And in the title you hear about the 20 plus dudes, yeah, and we're just getting started. And I'll be going to go over here, guys, making the point that just because a gal comes from a religious family doesn't mean that she has their views. Oftentimes, she is going and sticking to going to church probably once or twice a week and Sunday school and the other things like that. And on the outside, behaving in a certain way because that's just what her family's like and pretty much do it or else. But deep down inside, that's not all how she thinks or feels. And you can get the exact opposite. Some of the absolutely freakiest girls I have ever known came from super smothering religious families, and they literally smothered them so much they got the exact opposite. Hell, I've known some dudes that, again, were from super religious families, and they went down a dark path because it was just too much. It was crazy. So always be careful. He says, Hi, I'm currently 27 years old, and I got cheated on by my girlfriend in 2 years. This story took place back in 2019, but only my friends and family know the whole story, and I was wild enough to share on here. Well, brother, you've come to the right place. So I will try to keep it short and can answer any questions if you get confused. I met my then girlfriend at a youth Christian camp in 2017. It was pretty much love at first sight. Oh, for goodness sake. It means you haven't gotten any yet until that point. Like any cheesy romance movie, I kind of just saw her and instantly fell for her. Smack! You earned that. This camp was about 7 hours away from where I lived, and it was like a last hurrah going away gift of our youth pastors took us on before they moved to Florida. Anyway, first day at camp, I met her. Let us call her Elle. I'm not going to spend the whole video calling her Elle. Let's just call her Lisa. I cannot stop talking about her to my youth group and how beautiful she was. Eventually, we exchanged Facebooks, and that's how we kept in touch. And I found out that she lived only 2 hours from where I lived. We talked pretty much every day until eventually I was at her family at dinner with my family, and we met at a restaurant that was halfway between each other. Okay, this guy's thinking it's destiny, it's a sign. God brought us together. I think more like the devil brought these two together. I did the romantic thing after dinner. I asked her parents permission to date their daughter since they were very, very Christian. Like more than my family, like super Christian. They said yes, and all was great. We took many, many photos, had amazing dates, and generally we were in love. No, you were in love, brother. She was something else. So around this time frame, we were both juniors in high school, but obviously went to separate schools. We were together when we both graduated, had our first cars, first jobs, and we both started colleges. Oh, by the way, notice you connect the dots here. They were doing a long-distance relationship. Smack! And you know how that goes. And again, like I said at the beginning about her from a super religious Christian family. You know, it's one thing if the girls are voluntarily deeply religious, attend church, adhere by various rules and commandments and everything. It's another thing when they're forced into it. And the ones that are forced into it are about as far from godly as can be. Anyhow, a little bit about this. My best friends and I, a group of about 8 of us, wanted to go to an anime convention that was in the same town that she lived at and worked at. Her job was a hotel receptionist, and she told us that if we booked a few rooms at the hotel that she worked at, we would get a discount because she works there. We all thought that was awesome, so we went ahead and did that. Okay, sounds good. Well, fast forward to the day that we were on our way up there to our town that she was living at for this convention and checking in at the hotel. On the way there, she texted saying, "When you get to the hotel, make sure you don't hug me or kiss me in the lobby because I'll get in trouble with my boss for PDA." Okay. Which seemed to make sense to me at the time, and I didn't think anything of it. And I was respectful of it. The conversation was a weekend. We had a fantastic time, and she dressed as Harley Quinn, and I went as Kirito from Sword Art Online. Okay, I know Harley Quinn, but I do not know Kirito from Sword Art Online. Oh, I'm sure she was a slutty Harley Quinn. Not that Harley Quinn didn't look, but I'm sure short shorts were up quite high, revealing the cheeks. Miss Christianity here. Well, fast forward a year later. So the convention was over the summer, and this was the following year in July. Around this time, I got her parents' blessing to propose to her, which I planned to do at the end of the year. Smack! Dude, it sounds like you've only known her a couple years, right? Because this went down in 2019. He met her in 2017. Brother. But again, in his mind, hey, we're all deeply religious. What could go wrong? Lisa and I got plane tickets to go down to visit my mom's side of the family in Arizona in September. During the month of July, after we got the tickets, Lisa took work off for the week so we could go see the fireworks together over the 4th of July. She got a speeding ticket on the way and expected me to pay for it, and I thought she was joking, but she was being serious, so we got into a small argument about that. No. She's exceeding the speed limit. She's paying for it. It's not your job. But you can already see some things going on here. Her perception of him to get him to pay her ticket. Pay attention to that. I was also working the day that she was driving down, so she spent some time on the beach just hanging out, or so she says, and then promptly met me after work and we got food together. The next morning, I was getting ready for work, and that was my last day before I was free for the week to spend with her, and she left her phone in my room. Here we go. It's always the phone. It was a lot easier for them to get away with things back in the day before phones, or even like tablets and stuff like that, when, they just left them around and guys discovered things. She was out in the living room talking to her brothers and our mutual friends that were over visiting, and they lived in the same street as us. On the previous date we went on, she was very suspicious about me looking at her phone when we were sitting in the car together, and she said if I took her phone to look at it, I might drop it and crack it like I did my best friend's phone. We were horsing around this conversation a year ago, and I accidentally hit his hand, which made him drop his phone. I thought this was odd that she mentioned that, now since it was a year later, but we were having a good date, so I didn't think anything of it at the time. Okay. Again, more strange behavior. I made the decision to look at her phone because I was suspicious of what was going on in the very first thing. I opened it up on Snapchat and saw her sexting multiple people. This was years ago, so I don't remember exactly everything, but the one conversation I did read, and it's kind of stuck with me, was her talking to a guy. The guy was saying to her, "I don't know if you want to be in a relationship with me. I sent a lot of dick pics." And then she responded with, "I don't really care about that. I just need to be in a relationship right now." What do you mean she needs to be in a relationship? She's in a relationship with our guy telling the story here. Well, we're just getting started here. And remember, this is the ultra-religious girl. Again, like I said, just because they come from families like that doesn't mean that they share the beliefs and values that their parents do. That's been my experience. And it's these gals that come from these ultra-religious, super strict, but not because they want it, families that are the freakiest. And you need to avoid like the fucking plague. Well, I was heartbroken and tears in my eyes, confronted her about it, and locked myself in the bathroom and called her parents. Okay, I get you're hurt, bro, but never let them see you cry, and locking yourself in the bathroom is kind of like what the girls do. I just want to walk down on her. I called her parents, which a lot of you might say is very weird, but her parents were like a second family to me. I got extremely close to them, and they knew I loved their daughter. Well, that's a given, considering you proposed to her. And I didn't know what to do as I was an emotional wreck. Her father basically apologized for his daughter's actions, and he knows I'm a good guy, but for my sake, I need to walk away. Dad's telling him to walk away from his daughter. That says a lot. He said his daughter was going to ruin my life with the way she broke my heart, and I just need to walk away, and that he cares about me, and he gives me his blessings in my future. Holy shit. It kind of seems like the dad's taking this in his stride, almost like he's not too surprised by her actions. I'm a little curious about that. But regardless, if her own parents are telling you to get the hell out of Dodge, that says a lot. But I'm glad he told her parents. Well, eventually, after I found this out, to keep the story short, I found out that from the anime convention we went on a year earlier, that she got into 4 other long-term relationships. 4 other? So she's juggling 5 dudes at the same time? Man, I mean, that's some serious multitasking or organizational skills. Dude, she's a freaking stick. This is why I said God didn't bring you together. God's arch nemesis down below brought her into this guy's life. And she would essentially talk to all these guys on time clocks. Certain people she would talk to only on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 3 and 5. Eventually, all the guys that she was dating all got to a group chat that I was added to. Eventually, I was the nicest and well-rounded guy that didn't have prior arrests, wasn't into drugs or smoked whatever, and Lisa used me as a front to her parents. Damn, not surprised. Anything new that Lisa got, like clothes, phones, jewelry, things like that, were all bought from one of these guys or other guys. We made the decision to all confront her in person, and she did the normal thing that any woman would do. She had a panic attack and acted like the victim. Yep. In other words, the waterworks, the drama, and you made me cheat, whatever, any excuse you could pull out of her ass. Eventually, her entire demeanor changed, and I didn't know her anymore, and she seemed like an evil person. You think? I think there's more to her Harley Quinn costume than you may realize, dude. I'm still kind of curious how he got in that conversation with all those other dudes. Unless, when he was on her phone and the Snapchat, and he saw who they were and took pictures. I don't know. Maybe he's leaving that part out. But the point is, he was talking to all those dudes. This guy's 1 of 5, and he was the front to her parents. My God. For example, one of the guys that she started dating at the anime convention, she would tell him that I was a loser, didn't have a job or a car, and she hated being with me. She would tell these crazy stories to all these guys so they would feel bad for her so she could sleep with them faster. Well, I'm sure they had no problem sleeping with her, but it was actually, she probably had lied to get them to buy her stuff. Remember how she tried to get them to pay her speeding ticket? Little signs there. Eventually it came out from her that since we started dating, she slept with over 20 guys, had 4 other long-term relationships, and one of which already proposed to her. He was in the military. So if she admitted to 20 guys, let's do the usual multiply times 3, so we'll put it at 60. But then again, considering the modern times, let's add an additional 20 for fun, why not? So probably more like 80. Again, Miss Sweet and Innocent Christianity here. I'm sure a lot of you guys agree with me, so the freakiest fucking, not to mention low lives, were the super religious family girls. And usually a lot of them get really into drugs. Eventually her parents kicked her out. Good. And one of the guys that confronted her with me, for whatever reason, paid for her rent for 6 months after she got kicked out. Smack! Yep, this is bound to happen. She gave that guy the waterworks, or maybe a whole lot of BJs, I don't know what. It was a very messy breakup, but that's the main part of the story. If you have any questions, let me know. He also says, one of the things I forgot to add. When she was working at the hotel as a receptionist, apparently she would sleep with people that were there on business trips that flirted with her. She confessed to us when she confronted her that she slept with about 6 men, and that's why she prefers older men now. She and I are the same age. He also says another big piece of the story that I found out recently. A friend of mine who's a friend of her friend found out shortly that after we broke up in 2019, she started messing around with this one guy. They made a PH account that posted on their PH. Oh, I get it. PORN hub account, of course, that posted on there regularly, and she only deleted it when she got married. My friend told me that she would also put out for weed during this time as well. God's sakes. The parents are probably like, Jesus, what did we do wrong? We tried to raise our daughter in the church. Well, yeah, she's a bad seed, but I'm not discounting her actions. But a lot of times when these parents get just so strict and so restrictive and smother their kids in whatever religion it is, it can backfire big time. I knew some guys growing up that were an ultra strict religious family. One dude who was in my homeroom from the 7th grade to the 12th grade, because his last name was just almost identical to my last name. And I found out a couple of years of high school, he OD'd on heroin. And his family, oh my God, But that's what happens when they're so restrictive, So parents out there, just be aware of that. When it gets too extreme, these kids will freaking do the exact opposite. The devil will get to them. There's balance. Anyhow, that's how the frickin' thing ends. But he has a few comments in the comments section, more details here. But goddamn. But anyhow, thank God he dodged a big one there. But man, she was awful. And holy crap. But I like the fact that he told her parents, and the dad's telling him to get rid of it. And I love the fact they kicked her out, But a girl like that, so long as she's remotely attractive, she's going to find some sucker to shack up with. And some poor, unsuspecting Marine, that's who it is, married her. No idea. Now, a few of his comments. One guy says, 20. God damn, my brother in Christ, get tested. And the guy says, I did. Had chlamydia. Got immediately treated. I immediately thanked the Lord. The treatment center said to call her and let her know. I did. She did the cliche, who were you sleeping with? Because I don't have shit. So I told the clinic and they said that they'd handle it. He got chlamydia from her. Shocker. And she blames him. Like, well, who'd you get it from? Bet I'm not sleeping with other people. Another one, he says, about a year or so after we broke up, she married a guy that was in the Air Force. Okay, the Air Force. 1 year after they broke up, because think about it, her parents kicked her out. Shit, she's got to survive somehow. Found some sucker. She moved out of state because he was stationed elsewhere. Just recently I found out that she moved back into the state we originally are from. And her husband are divorced. Shocker. She has a daughter, too, from that husband. Aside from that, I'm not sure what she's doing. That poor little girl. Oh, my God. And last comment from our guy. He says, no, I didn't pay for her rent for 6 months. One of the other guys that confronted me with her. That was also in a relationship with her for about a year did. The guy that paid her rent was a divorced Marine veteran. Okay. He has 2 kids that he couldn't see, so he found comfort in her. That's what he told me the day that we can the predator when we were just talking to each other and comparing notes. Holy crap. So there you go, guys. Do your homework on your girls. And if you get involved with the gals from the super religious families, before you think you hit the jackpot, make sure that, in terms of a very structured religious lifestyle she had, it was because what she chose. If a girl by her own once is going to church every Sunday and lives by a certain lifestyle, rules, commandments, whatever you want to call it, stuff like that, and is practicing what she preaches, and that's one thing on her own, by her own choice. But if she's coming from the family and they're telling her it, or else, that's something else. Be careful. But anyhow, this guy dodged a big one. He could have married her, had a kid with her, all that. So yeah, watch out. But holy crap. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you guys find a good story you'd like me to cover, send it my way, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good story, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.